In the 21st century, a time span that now includes about a quarter of a century worth of football, put in layman's terms, guys, since the year 2000, the Philadelphia Eagles have had 3 offensive guards be selected as AP All-Pros. You got to go all the way back to the 2002 season, and our guy, Jermaine Mayberry, making second-team All-Pro. All the way back to 2006, and former first-round pick Shawn Andrews making that AP first-team selection. 2, the beginning of the Chip Kelly era, where we brought in free agent Evan Mathis at left guard, who went on to become an AP first-team All-Pro. I know some of you guys are probably thinking to yourself, like, man, Gate, that's kind of weird considering the fact that that span of time includes, like, Andy Reid as the head coach, to Chip Kelly, to Doug Peterson, to Nick Sirianni, to offensive line coaches like Juan Castillo and Jeff Stoutland. I'm a little surprised that only 3 guys have risen to those ranks. I would have definitely thought there'd have been more. I would have thought we would have seen guys have repeat performances as offensive guards. What I'll say is this. I think we got the future one on our hands. The subject of today's video, we're here to talk about former Florida State and Alabama. Pretty much played all 5 alignments, guys. Left tackle, left guard, center, right guard, right tackle during his time. But currently, the left guard of the Philadelphia Eagles, Landon Dickerson. In my opinion, and it has changed quite a bit since that 21 draft, I think this man is the next offensive guard to be selected and named an AP All-American. All right, y'all. Let's get it.
Night with Howie Roseman, and he did caution and warn people to that they had not abandoned their beliefs and building the interior, building from the trenches. Only time will tell, man. I said just before I hit the record button here, everybody in the chat probably will remember this one. I said that if you pick an offensive lineman here, he had better be a perennial Pro Bowler.
What's up, Cerebral Football fans? My name is Stephen Hyder. This is Gate City Sports Channel. So Landon Dickerson has a very complicated history kind of coming into this Philadelphia Eagles team, and it didn't just disappear when he became a pro. I mean, leading up to Super Bowl week, one of the major storylines there was whether or not Landon Dickerson was going to be fully healthy, and there were some experts weighing in on their testimony that he wasn't 100% going to be ready, and this could be an injury that could be a cause of a concern, all these things, right? So, I mean, we have to deal with the fact that when we talk about Landon Dickerson, the whole league knew this young man was talented. I mean, you go back to Dane Brugler in the 2021 draft, this was his second highest rated interior offensive lineman or offensive guard, to get more specific. He had Elijah Vera Tucker as number 1, Landon Dickerson number 2, and then his third ranked player was Jalen Mayfield. We know Jalen Mayfield didn't work out. We know that draft was fairly, decent. It was pretty deep. Tevin Jenkins, Quinn Meinerz, Creed Humphrey were all part of that draft class. I mean, there's definitely some pretty decent names that you could have got between the first and second round in that draft class. But Landon Dickerson has really come around, and I mean, it's paid dividends, man. Like, he is definitely the guy. This is one of the better players that we have drafted recently here in Philadelphia. If I had to take, just a shot in the dark at like who this guy reminds me of from a Philadelphia Eagles perspective, I think the player that really stands out to me is Shawn Andrews. And I know that Shawn Andrews did struggle with some weight, but when Shawn Andrews was in actual playing shape, he did play around 335, 340-ish. Now, we know that he had issues where he kept ballooning, like the combine. He came in at like over 365. Throughout his career, he kind of fought with some mental things going on and had some issues with his weight. And Shawn Andrews was another guy that was incredibly talented, but it was things outside of just talent that kept him from realizing the full potential of what that young man was as a football player. With that said, I think that the only guy that I can think of in the 21st century, at least, that has donned the Philadelphia Eagles jersey and played on the interior offensive line, who matches the skill set, the brute strength, just what this guy is, the only name that comes to my mind is Shawn Andrews. I mean, I get people can make the, like Jeremiah Mayberry, that's not too far off, Gate. I hear you, but Jeremiah Mayberry was a little bit of a freak with like almost 36-inch arm reach. Like he was a longer, lankier kind of, interior offensive lineman when compared to Landon Dickerson. Landon Dickerson was just a bull in a china closet. I think he was more of the Shawn Andrews type in terms of the body, the mentality, and what he could do to you when he was on his game. I know it's going to be an uphill battle, guys. I'm sitting here telling you that I think this young man, we might potentially witness that happening this year, but I think it's happening absolutely within the next 3 years. I definitely think Landon Dickerson within the next 3 years is going to be named an AP All-Pro. Whether it's first team or second team, I think we are on the verge of that happening because he's that caliber of player. And I know the argument could be like, Gate, he plays left guard, not right guard. Right guard's a little easier to get that, especially when you count in the fact that Zach Martin, who has dominated that, probably doesn't have many years left to play football, so that would be the natural, easy one to kind of fill in there. While if you're playing left guard, you got to deal with your Quentin Nelsons, you got to deal with your Joel Batanios and Joe Toonies of the world, and really, really good football players. I get it. I get that the competition is pretty fierce there, and we can go even to if Elijah Vera Tucker, I don't know where they play that young man all over the place, but if they lock him in at left guard, he could be a problem. Jonah Jackson, Damian Lewis, John Runyon Jr. with the Green Bay Packers, Dalton Reisner. I mean, there's definitely competition there. I mean, no doubt about that. But I'm just saying, I think this young man in particular is not only an excellent run blocker, not only can he maul you and get strong and just absolutely just move dudes out of the way, I think he's developed as a pass blocker too. I think his actual pass protection, in my opinion, might be one of his strong suits right now. I think he could actually learn to develop a little bit more in the run game, if I'm going to be honest. And he's never going to be like a pin and pull guy that you depend upon doing that all the time. It's not his game. He's a bigger, physically stronger guy. But he has shown the ability at the professional level to actually do that at a much higher level than I would have suspected coming out of college. Although we saw as a center, he moved around a little bit, for Alabama. But I mean, you're talking about a 330-some pound guy moving like that. And he probably plays, I'd imagine he plays anywhere between 335 to 340 to begin the season. This is going to be an interesting guy to keep your eye on. I absolutely think this is a young man that most people who maybe are not Philadelphia Eagle fans, or not Alabama fans, or not Florida State fans, or not ACC or SEC fans, don't get a chance to watch college ball like that and don't watch the Eagles. They're not in that market. This might shock them how good this young man is. And I know it's difficult to talk about because we have the three cornerstones of the offensive line right now, which is Jordan Mailata at left tackle, Jason Kelsey at center, and then that right tackle out there in Lane Johnson. Those are the three cornerstones, in my opinion, of the offensive line. But then you got this other guy, man. He's the fourth guy on that line. And he's nasty. He's nasty. He can fight. He can win down there, Landon Dickerson. I mean, he just brings an attitude to the position, and he has the underlying skill set to make you at times just drop your jaw and go, yeah, this dude's dominant. This guy can absolutely take over a football game on you. He's just that kind of, player. And we don't even know his testing numbers. We have no clue what this young man would have done other than jumping 106 inches in the broad jump with an ACL tear that just happened a few months prior to him jumping that. So we don't know what he would have ran the 40 in. We don't know what his 10 split would be. We don't know what his lateral movement drills would be, like the short shuttle and the three cone. We have no clue about any of those numbers. We don't know, right? We have no clue what he would have tested. But what we can say is when you turn the tape on and you watch this young man play football, man, he's doing it at a really high level. This guy is absolutely playing football at a very high level, and he's part of the foundation that's going to be the future of this Philadelphia Eagles offensive line, and he's a major, major part of it. I like to do these things, man, where I like to take guesses. I like to try to make educated guesses at what I think might be on the horizon for the Eagles. Last year I got lucky and I hit a couple of them. I told you guys I definitely thought that the 0 touchdown thing for Miles Sanders was an anomaly and that would not happen twice in a row. And I also thought that he had absolutely had the ability to go over 1,000 yards if you can get him past 160 rushing attempts. That came true. We talked about a lot of guys. I thought, things were going to come true about those players. I said that I thought Josh Sweat would be a double-digit sack guy last year. That came true. This is one of those selections, man, where I'm throwing darts at the board, no doubt about it. I feel pretty good about this dart sticking, though, man. I honestly do. I think, yes, Nelson and Batanio and Tooney, those dudes are all really good football players. Joe Dooney played at NC State, guys. Right there with Mike Quick. Well, not with Mike Quick. Mike Quick was many years before him, but the same university. With that said, Landon Dickerson, guys, I think he is the next AP All-Pro that is going to happen. All right, y'all. I appreciate y'all's time and attention. Leave your comments down below. Let me know what you think. Who's your pick, guys? Who is the guy who has not been named? We'll give it last 3 years, right? Since the year 2000, who has not been named to an AP All-Pro, who will be named in 2023. Who's your selection for the Philadelphia Eagles? If you're from the outside the fan base, guys, you can leave your comments that deal with the outside of the fan base that has not been named since 2020 but will be in 2023. But you know how it goes, guys. I appreciate y'all's time and attention, and I'll see y'all on the next video. I always forget to say this, guys, but don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed today's content. All right, y'all. I'm out of here.